Hello, my name is Paul McKenna and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Quizlet. Quizlet is an online learning platform. It's at quizlet.com, and what it allows you to do is to make, if you imagine this is a flashcard, you write a word here, vocabulary item for example, and on the back the definition, and you would use a stack of these cards to study with, and then Quizlet allows you to produce these digitally, basically, and there's a bunch of things you can do with that. I'm also going to show you how you can produce these sets more efficiently, and I'm going to integrate it with a spreadsheet, basically, and I'm going to show you how you can have other students come in and edit your. So many people remotely edit the same spreadsheet, so you can very quickly generate a kind of a word list and very quickly convert that into a set of flashcards using Quizlet. So that's the purpose of what I'm going to show you today. So I'm at Google, and I'll just search for Quizlet. Okay, so it's Quizlet.com. Of course, you can just type in Quizlet.com up here. Okay, so this is Quizlet.com, and this is the home page, and there's a lot of information there on the home page about what you can do with Quizlet, including this very interesting claim: 90% of students who use Quizlet report receiving higher marks. Okay, I'm going to log in now. Okay, so now I've logged in. I have a teacher's account, and it's a free teacher's account. So every feature I'm showing you now, you'll be able to use just by if you get a free teacher account with Quizlet. Here's an example. So when you log in, you see a bunch of cards that you've made. There's recent ones. There's some recommended ones. They're made by other people. And you'll see that I have my sets organized into folders here. Folders are just ways of grouping sets. I have them usually according to textbooks. And I have classes there, and classes is a way of organizing sets, and you can invite students as part of classes. I'm not really going to cover that today. I'm going to look instead at one set I've created for this tutorial. So this is Irish slang, and this is so let's just look at flashcards here. Okay, so tired or worn out, that's knackered.
Tired, worn out. Knackered.
They don't have the Irish accent. Someone from Dublin City, that's a Jackeen.
Someone from Dublin City. A Jackeen.
Jackeen, really, Jackeen. Okay, that's what country people call people from Dublin. Person from rural Ireland is a culchie or a bogger, bog trotter, bog hopper, a mucker, muck-savage. We've many words for people from rural. I love people from rural Ireland. But anyway, culchie is slightly derogatory, but you know, we are kind of we kind of tease each other. That's our culture. So that's our culture. Culchie. Let's see how they pronounce that.
A culchie.
Yeah, not too bad. Okay, so there's a set. Let me go back there. I can edit this set if I want. Okay. So, for example, let's just take a culchie, or I could go a bogger. You know, bogger is another word for a country person. I'm not going to include that, but I could. Okay, so back to our set. Flashcards is one way you can use the set. Another way is there's some applications here. I'm going to very quickly go through them here. Learn. Someone from Dublin City is a Jackeen. Yes, an aggressive or potentially violent man is a gouger. An airing cupboard for drying out towels and sheets is a hot press. And to play a light-hearted joke on someone is to cod someone. Okay, in Irish slang. Okay, girlfriend is a mot. Now, and so on. Right, here's another thing you can do. Right, so a row argument. Drunctions. There's many. Okay, great. Very drunk. Oh God, we've many. I don't know what it. Plastered, flutered, rotten. I'm going to say rotten. We've many words for drunk, of course. Very embarrassed. Scarlet. Scarlet. Yes, okay. Oh, I'm so good at Irish slang. Okay, I'll just do one more spell. Type what you hear.
A hot press.
Hot. Correct.
At the maggot.
Maggot.
A gouger.
You're not pronouncing that very well. A gouger.
Mayo.
Yes.
A holy show. Knackered.
And so on. Okay, now really, and these are more game-like here. So let me just show you one of these. I'm not going to show you all of these, but just, okay, so here you just have to match them. So a glass of alcoholic beverage is a jar and they disappear. Mayo is a county on the west coast of Ireland. Hello, how are things? Is how's she cutting? That's a kind of country person's expression. Likeable is sound. Holy show is a disgraceful scene, and someone from Dublin City is a jacking, and it times it. Okay. Now, a very interesting function is test. So I often use this to create tests. So if I've created a set, I would go to test, and it will actually just produce tests. There are options here, so you can have for different type of questions. Now, the multiple choice one, well, let's just do written questions. You can set the number of questions here. Some questions, they have images, you can choose to show them or not. You can answer with either the term or the definition. So let's just try some written and multiple choice, and I'll go for 15 questions. Create a new test. Okay, so you can actually print that test and it comes out as a PDF document. However, it's very inefficient with space. So what I usually do is, cancel that. I usually just copy it straight from here. And I would paste it into a, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a, you can do this anywhere. I am using Google Docs, but you can put this in a Word file or anywhere. Vocabulary test. Okay, and I'm just copying it in. And then I can reformat this however I like. So for example, yeah, anyway, I can edit that later at my own pace. So, but it's just a quick way to generate a test. It's much quicker, you can imagine, than typing the thing yourself right from the start. Now, let's say you want to create a new set. Go to create. You give it a title, so Irish slang. You can add a description. I'll leave that there, and I'll just put in some words. Rotten would be drunk, and then plastered would be drunk, and then flickered would be drunk, and then bogus would be drunk. Now, I wouldn't advise you make sets like this because they all have the same definition. So, you know, if you're doing a pairing set, if it's not the same pair, if you put this drunk with this word, it won't do as a match. So be aware that when you're creating sets, sometimes you'll have a, you know, a term which, you'll have two different terms which have the same meaning. So in that case, you know, the way I would tend to write it is together, plastered, or you could separate them off into different sets. Anyway, let me just finish making that so you can see. Now, you got to choose the language, English, and that's so that the Quizlet can read it out. So, you know what's fun? I'm going to put it in a Japanese. So we'll actually read it in a Japanese accent. Let's just try that. Okay. Wojus. I don't know how you spell Wojus. Wojius. Yeah, we'll try that. I don't know. Never spelled it. Okay. Here's a chance you can share it, and you can also add it to one of your classes or folders. I won't go into that level of detail now. Let's go to flashcards. Drunk, rotten, plastered. Let's listen.
Rotten, plastered. Drunk,
Japanese pronunciation.
plastered. Drunk,
Oh, now here in the options, I can start with answer. I can have the audio off or on. I can answer with Japanese.
fluttered.
It's fluted, actually. Sometimes the pronunciation is not quite right. It's machine. It's a machine reading. So.
Wojus, drunk. Wojus, fluttered, plastered. Rotten, plastered.
Okay, there we go. Right, going back to Quizlet. Now, here's another thing I want to show you, Irish slang for Jilt. I'm going to delete this, actually. Right, now, a very efficient way to create a set is to use a word list. So here is a unfinished word list. Let's see if I just get these. Okay, so all I'm doing, I'm using Google Sheets here, but I could also use Excel, or I'm not sure, I'm not aware of other spreadsheet programs. I'm sure they are them, but basically 2 columns is all you need. This would also work with a text file if it was pure text, if they were separated, tab separated file. I can show you an example of that now. Let me open a notepad and I will paste it in. So, not sure if that really worked. Okay. Right, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it. I'm using shortcuts, but just so you can see what I'm doing, I'll copy it, and then I will go into my file and I will paste it. Paste. Okay, so this is actually a tab here. Okay, if I delete that and tab, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Oops, sorry. Copy. It doesn't matter if I copy from the spreadsheet or from the text editor file. What I'm doing is I'm going to create a new set, just give it a title, Irish slang, and then here, import from Word, Excel, etc. So I just paste it in here. Okay, and they come up. Okay, I will create this. Now I have to choose the language, so English. Okay. Now, and so just to, here's another game, Gravity. Protect the planets from incoming asteroids. Okay, let's go. All right. So to get thick with someone is to, no, do you know what? I want to restart. I should actually answer with the term. Okay. To kiss passionately is to shift. Counting the west coast of Ireland, there are many, but I know this said it's male. And become annoyed and hostile is to get thick. Likeable, describing people, or good is sound. All right. The point there is that I very quickly generated that word, that set of flashcards from basically a set of 2 columns. That could come from a Google Sheets, which it has here, or an Excel spreadsheet, or I could just use, term and use the tab key, definition. Thank you, spelling. Term 2, tab, definition 2. Okay, and I'm just going to copy that, and I will add it to, I can edit this here. I can import, I can just add those in, and it should add them down to the bottom of my list there. Okay, so that's done. Now, I don't need this set, so I'm going to delete it. Now, a really good activity to do is to have the students find the definitions. So in other words, you can collaborate to create a word list. So, and then have the students all work on the same word list. And so if many people are working, you can very quickly generate a word list with many words. And then we can produce a Quizlet, a set of cards in Quizlet. So let me show you an example here. So if, sort that there. Okay, so here is one I made earlier. It's an Irish slang word list. I put in the terms there and many of the meanings. This is from a reading. Anyway, so so imagine that you give the students some kind of a text or something like that, and they read the words, and you can give them access to this Google spreadsheet, and then they add words as they see fit. So how do you share this with them? Well, there is many ways. One is a QR code. So what I tend to do is, okay, so first let me go back there and say, here's where you share. So at the top of the Google sheet there, you go to share. Now we can add people's email addresses there. So if you have an email list, that will work very well. Another way is to share this link with them. So send them a copy of the link. Now, sometimes the link is actually very long. So one way you can make that more accessible, like people are not going to type that in. If people can't, if you can share it in a way that people can directly click on the link, perfect. If they can't do that, one thing you can do is use URL shortening. So I'll show you how to do that now. So I've copied that link. One thing to notice is I have set up, anyone with the link can view I want to set this up so that anyone with the link can edit. So you want to set that up so people can actually edit this document. Done. Oh, sorry, and I copied the link there. Okay, so I've copied the link now. The link is on my, what do you call it? The, it's copied. There's a word for it, I can't remember. If I paste now, it'll paste that link. I'm going to go to, I'm going to open up a new tab here and, well, QR code generator. There are many websites that do this. I usually use the top one. Okay, so I just pasted in there. Oh, whoops. This is how to make a QR code, sorry. I'll do a link shortening later. Okay, so here's a QR code. I put it in there and it creates a little QR code and you can download it there. Okay, here's one I did earlier. I tend to keep the QR code in with the spreadsheet, so I can use the same spreadsheet many times for many different word lists. So here's one I did earlier. Now, let's go back to sharing because I wanted to show you how to shorten this link. Shortening the link can be good if people want to actually type the URL in somewhere in a way that's much more doable, because the link we have here, the URL, is too long and it would be impossible to type in because it's just too easy to make a mistake. So I copied that. Again, make sure that it's set up so that anyone with the link can edit. Copied. And I'll go back to my done that. Okay. Now, let's go back to Google. URL shortener. You'll see there's many of these. The bitty, URL shortener, tiny cc, bitly. Get started for free. Okay, there's plans here. Oh, this is more complicated than I want. I usually use tiny URL, okay? So tinyurl.com, tiny URL. Okay, click my URL in here, make it tiny, and there, copy there. So this tinyurl.com, I can put that in here too, and I'll just make it nice and big so people can easily see it. Okay, so people can type that in if they find the QR code difficult to work. Alternatively, you can just send them the share link. So I have many ways. When students get that, they can come in and they can edit the word list, and you can have many people adding. Now, sometimes you'll find that people are writing on top of each other. So in a classroom situation, I can put them in teams, and for example, I might color, okay, so you're in the yellow team, so work together with the yellow team, and you know, just color them different. Okay, you're assigned students to the green team or whatever it is. You can do that online, I suppose, or you can just let it have be a bit of a free-for-all. People will be able to see when other people are writing, so it should be okay. Now, let me go to one I made earlier. So if you'll bear with me a moment, I'm going to my Drive file. Okay, so here's one I made earlier. So let's imagine that this is finished now, and you can copy and paste it and put it into Quizlet. So in the way that I show you. So you create a set, you give it a name, you import into here, you copy, paste the words in there, they come in, and you create the list. Now I want to show you Quizlet Live. So Quizlet Live is what? Okay, bear with me a moment. Okay, so let's go into my word list here. Now, here is Quizlet Live. So Quizlet Live is a team game or an individual game. And what it is the kind of a race. So students answer questions. And as they answer questions, they get points. And the points is represented as a dot moving across the screen as a kind of a race. And so people, it's a vocabulary race essentially. So when I used Quizlet Live in the classroom, it was a really effective way of getting people into groups and working together and having fun and creating a great group atmosphere before I would give them a group task. And I found that particularly effective, especially with Japanese students, because well, I think it's true just for young people in general, but often if they don't know each other well, they're going to be shy, and there's a lot, you have to kind of build up a bit of trust and a bit of kind of liking each other in order to work effectively as a team. You can't just throw people together and expect that they will always gel as a group. So I find that Quizlet Live or any kind of team game, fun team game like this, where they have to cooperate, is a great way of getting a fun atmosphere going and generating a bit of team spirit, and that's as a lead into another team activity. So if I select that, it gives you a choice of, either seeing the definition first and answering with the term, or seeing the term and seeing the definition and answering with the term. Now, actually, I'll turn off the sound there. Now, how this would work is students they can either just put in enter quizlet.live. So let me do that so that you can see what it looks like. Quizlet.live. And they see the number. So, and then they enter this number here. So 859-869, 859-869, 859-869. What is your first name? I'll write in my name, Paul. Let's go. Now, so students would put their names here. Now, the way the team game would go is that when you get enough students, you just go click, it automatically assigns them into teams. And each team would, let's say that there was each game consists of usually 12 questions or 10 questions, depending on the number of participants. Let's go with 12 questions. Suppose there was 3 members in the team. Each team member would get 4 different words. There would be 1 clue. So one person in the team has the answer, but for example, 2 of the team members will have clues that don't apply. So the students have to kind of look at each other and help each other. So it's a great team game. Now, unfortunately, so I'm doing this now in the situation of the corona COVID-19 situation, in which it's very hard to get team games going, because for the team games, people need to be kind of physically together so they can look into each other's devices and stuff. There are ways of doing this online, but it's very complicated and doesn't always work, and there's too many ways for it to become confusing or for it not to work. So here is the one key point about today. up until recently, at the time of when I'm, this is the 8th of April as I'm presenting this, the 8th of April 2020. There was only a team game. Quizlet Live was always a team game, but now they have created a new individual game. So individuals can play. So we select which one we want, and it's the same thing. So you put in a, you go to Quizlet. Either you use the QR code here with a smartphone, or you can just put in Quizlet Live. So I'll just write in Quizlet.live. When you put in excuse me. Okay, so 964342. 964342. What's your first name? That's my name in Japanese. Paul. So their names will come up, okay? So you need at least 2 students to play. I wonder if I can, I wonder if it's possible. This might not work. Nine six four three four two. Okay, it only allows 1 player per device. Okay, so I'm not able to demonstrate that, a team game on this particular video, but thank you very much for watching. That's it for now. When you have a number of participants, you just click go and the game will start. So just to recap some of the main points. So to recap some of the main points, I showed you about Quizlet.com. Quizlet.com allows you to make digital flashcards. With those flashcards, you can basically show them up and practice them yourself, like look at the word, guess the definition, turn it over, see if you're correct. It also has a number of games. The games appear on the side. You can click on them, try them out. You can have students, you can give students access to these cards and they can do that at home. Or you could have that if you give them time within an online class, you can just send them there and have them do that on their own. Another thing I showed you was how to quickly generate a bunch of cards where you have word lists, and that would consist of 2 columns in a spreadsheet. It could be Google Sheets, it could be Google Excel. I'm sure other online spreadsheets. I don't use any other online spreadsheets, but I'm sure they would work just as well. It also works with a text file, a pure text file, where where you have a term, tab key, and definition. Next line, term, tab key, definition. If you copy all them and paste them in, each of that term, definition pair will come up as a separate flashcard. So that's a quick way to generate a whole set. Then I showed you how to take a Google Sheet and share it so that many students can work on the same spreadsheet at the same time and very quickly, as a group, generate a word list. This could come from a text. If the students had a text, they can choose the words that they find are difficult and they can put in the words and definitions. Now, I would advise you normally to, of course, just go through them, check them with other students and so on before you kind of finalize the word list and then put that in and create a set. And then very quickly, in a few clicks, you can go and play a game where students are racing against each other. So I visualize this as the activity would go, and I haven't really structured the activity so much, but this is how I visualize it would go. You give the students a text, You tell them any words that you don't know, underline it, and then you give them access to a spreadsheet. You show them just write a couple of word definition pairs, give them access to the spreadsheet, take them through, like, you can edit this, and have them add words to the spreadsheet. Give them a time limit. When the time limit's over, review. Of course, remove any duplicates, check misspellings, check the words definitions, and so on. When you're happy with that, take those 2 columns, put them into Quizlet, create a word set, and then students can start quizzing. You can have a competitive racing quiz game with that very quickly. So it's a nice activity. You've got reading, you've got vocabulary, and then they're like studying the vocabulary in a fun way. And then, of course, you can finish by having them read the text again. And the second time they read it, they might have they might be more familiar with the vocabulary, and it might be easier the second time. Thank you very much for watching my presentation, and I'll see you again for the next one.